All right. Welcome back to the talkie. We're starting in, I believe it's day 4? Day 4, is it? Yeah, so we just ended day 3. We are getting ready to start day 4. If you don't remember what happened in day 3, check it out. Some crazy things happened. We almost died. We almost died. It was a freak snowstorm rolled in. We were rushing outside to go save our oak tree, our memorial for our wife. And we fell down the stairs. Hit our head really badly. And then got outside and passed out in the snow. And to our surprise, Scott, our next door neighbor, who we thought was probably dead because he didn't even look like he was going to be living when in Sarah's world, let alone our world. And we found out that he's alive. He is alive and well, and he helped us. He saved us, and he also, check this out, he also got a time for us to be able to sit down and talk to Jeff Jefferson to see if he actually indeed did murder Sarah or not, or even maybe his current wife. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start day 4. No quote? Oh, here we go. Yeah, we're going to get the quote. What, then, is time? If no one asks me, I know. If I wish to explain to him who asks, I know not. St. Augustine. Day 4, April 28th. I believe Sarah dies April 29th. So we have today and tomorrow. And we're still woozy, it looks like. It still looks like we're woozy from our fall and our head injury. You wake up from a long, tedious, dreamless night, an unbearable migraine like a hammer knocking you senseless. A sort of palpitating stupor numbs you to the bone. The morning air doesn't agree with you, and you give some thought to perhaps seeing a doctor. You stagger to the bathroom and open the medicine cabinet. You reach for it, the morphine prescription they gave you in the aftermath of the car accident. You had never really considered taking any of the pills, preferring to tough it out. But the migraine this morning is so intense, you had a hard time staying focused. So much murkiness everywhere. Take the morphine, don't take the morphine. Oh, I wish I knew the I wish I knew the strength of the morphine, like the amount, like how many milligrams of morphine are we getting ready to take? Because the morphine might knock us out the entire day. But I think we need, I was going to say, I think we need a clear head to go through with our investigation. But hell, whether we have this migraine or whether we're doped up with morphine, I don't know if we're going to have a clear head. But we're going to go ahead and take the morphine because the migraine is terrible. This migraine's way worse than anything else. It's way worse than the morphine can ever be for us, right? You swallow 2 tablets, aided by a large glass of water. Outside, the brightness is hard to endure. A blazing sun saturates the landscape, and the snow is gone. Unbearable. Unable to bear the glare while heading towards the curtains, you plunge the house into semi-darkness by closing them. Sarah's letter is there on the table. I don't think Jeff is guilty. How can Sarah say such a thing? The evidence is clear. He ended up murdering his wife. He's doing time for it. She's probably in denial. She won't be vigilant then. It's already noon, and you vaguely remember falling asleep around 10 p.m. 14 hours of just lying there, leaving you in a daze. The doorbell rings, and the shrill of the sound hurts your ears. I bet it's Scott. Hey, Scott, what's going on, Scott?
How's your head doing?
It's good. My head is okay. It's actually not great. We look terrible. Oh my goodness, we have black eyes. We're still gushing blood from our head from the bandage. It looks like. Not great, actually. I have a bad headache. You look terrible, like you just rose from the dead. You should consider seeing a medic, my friend. You took a nasty fall. You look like a steak we just put on the grill, tender and raw. Are you sure? Are you sure you're in good enough shape to visit with Jeff? Of course I am good. Affirmative. Don't worry, I have pain meds. You look like shit. Too bad those pain meds can't improve your looks. Well, I guess we're stuck with you. Anyway, I've got some good news for you. I found the problem with your gadget. Just a small weld that needs fixing. Now the light comes on and I hear a bit of static sizzling. You've seen some weird fads. You've seen some weird fads in my time, but bloody hell, you fucking take the cake. Will you finally tell me what the hell is going on? It's none of your it's none of your damn business, Scott. Look, it's for my book. It's for my book. I'm writing a book about Sarah's story. It's that simple. I can't say more on the subject at this point. I think this talkie, well, in a manner of speaking, is a piece of the puzzle. Piece of the puzzle? It sounds a little strange, neighbor. Are you a novelist or a cop? Since when do writers collect evidence? I'm doing investigative work. I'll explain it to you later. I am doing investigative work because I have to have, for my book, I have to have all the details factual because this is a nonfiction book. So it's got to be true. It's got to be factual evidence. It's got to be all real. It's got to be all true. It's got to be perfect, and that's why I'm collecting evidence. I'm just making that up. I'm doing some investigative work. It's all part of the process. Goodness gracious. You're some piece of work, Jacob. Next time, just tell me it's none of my. I kind of wanted it to, but I thought you'd be upset. Kind of wanted to say it's none of your business. I'd rather that than be taken for an idiot. Whether this talkie works or not, it won't give you any more clues than my morning crash. Need I remind you that I've been a sheriff my entire life? I'll explain it to you later. I'll explain everything to you later, Scott. Don't you worry. Yeah, you're pissing me off big time. Anyway, I'll come bring you your precious when I your precious, so like his pass maybe, or maybe the talkie when I pass by later this evening and say hello to that vermin Jeff. I'll have a front row seat watching him burn. Tell him that for me. And please, my friend, do something about your fucking appearance. You look like the Walking Dead. Scott tips his hat and makes an about-face grin. Tonight, if all goes well, you'll be able to talk to Sarah. The headache doesn't subside. You gradually find solace between the mix of fatigue and pain medication. It's like a warm blanket on a frigid evening, sheltering you from the cold, but as your blood pressure begins to rise, your aching temples mimic the beat of your heart, sounding like a pair of tom-toms. You dress and make coffee and drive to Ethan Moore Beddington Federal Prison. On the way there, squinting behind your sunglasses, it seems as though the sun is brighter than usual. It's bright. Far too bright. Take morphine tablet. Don't take... Should we take more morphine tablet? It seems like it's starting to wear off, and I feel like we need to take... I know it's going to get to a point where we don't want to take... We don't want to keep taking morphine, but I think at this point in time, I think it's okay to maybe take a little more. Because it seems like everything's coming back. So if we take a little bit more, we can find that good balance between being high and and in pain. So I think we take a little bit more, but maybe not after this, depending on like his side effects, right? So whether he's experiencing pain or whether he's experiencing dizziness or I don't know what morphine does to you. But depending on what he's feeling, we'll decide later on whether we take more morphine or not. You then have the feeling your thoughts are becoming harder to control, your mind drifting at times like an empty, watery void. So maybe we took too much already. You arrive at Ethan Moore Prison at exactly 1:30 p.m. If it weren't for the watchtowers and the huge barbed wire fences, Beddington Prison might have been mistaken for a university or a general hospital. The brownish solid brick building is imposing and anonymous. After passing through the visitor's reception desk and metal detectors, you're led down a bleak, narrow corridor. Neon lights project a menacing sterility. 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 You enter a large, elongated room. It's divided by a glass wall. Glass as thick as a door. Dozens of small cubicles separate the passageway. Oh, hello, officer. This prison guard, the security guard. The security guard sizes you up suspicion. Look, you looking at? You little twiggly security guard. You're not sure if it's your pale complexion. Oh, that's right. We do look like The Walking Dead. Okay. I understand now. I'm like, why is he trying to size me up? You want to go? I'm all doped up with morphine. I'll take you on. You're not sure if it's your pale complexion or your ridiculous bandage. That's right. We do have all this going on, causing the undue scrutiny, but it seems to have triggered the guard's misgivings. It's cubicle 6. You have 20 minutes, not a second more. Making your way towards the designated area right then, the morphine kicks in, and it takes every ounce of your energy to get there in a straight line. The pain hasn't subsided. So not only did the morphine kick in, but the pain hasn't even subsided. So this is Jeff. We got an actual picture of Jeff now. Behind the window, an angry-looking man stares at you intently. His unkempt hair and steel blue eyes set the tone. It's going to be frigid. He's holding the phone in his hand and, with a gesture, invites you to take the other handset.
Who are you? What the fuck happened to you?
It's okay, don't worry about me. I had an accident. An accident? Really? Yesterday, I'm told there is a person interested in my story, a writer. And today I see a clown, an idiot disguised like a mummy wearing sunglasses.
You came trick-or-treating. Sorry, but I have no sweets.
Let's talk about you instead. I'm sorry for my appearance. Let's talk about you instead. Okay, have it your way. My name is Jeff Johnson. Oh, I always kept saying Jefferson, didn't I? Jeff Johnson. I'm kind, generous, and I have a great sense of humor. I'm looking for my soulmate. Down to earth, and who takes good care of herself, and who likes to laugh and have fun. Enjoys long walks on the beach too, right? Was that good for you? Or would you like my measurements also? Very funny. We have very little. Look, we don't have enough time for these jokes, Jeff. We have very little time. Very little time for what? Can you help me? Yes or no? Yeah, of course I can help you. Help you? Yeah, I can help you. Are you here to help me? I'm in less than a week, they'll put me down like a dog. I mean, even my lawyer wants nothing to do with me. That's why I accepted the interview. I thought you could possibly do something about it. Maybe pull some strings. You know, get me a stay of execution.
I'm fucking innocent. I did nothing.
Oh, so he's angry. I mean, and he might be innocent. We still don't know 100% for sure if Jeff did this or not. It's very. I mean, it seems like it, but we don't know. We still have no idea if Jeff did it or not. It's definitely pointing towards him, but I mean, I'd like to see the evidence of it all. A burst of terror cuts across his daunting eyes. You had seen it before during a visit to your uncle's slaughterhouse. It was there in the eyes of the cattle on the gangplank. Don't know what a gangplank is. In their demeanor. They knew it was coming, just like Jeff. The dread of it, the certainty of death. I'm a writer, not a lawyer. I can do... Look, I'm a writer. So he's going to know that I can't do shit. So what the hell are you doing here? What is it you want from me? I'm writing a book about Sarah Williams, and I'd like to have a conversation with you about her murder. Sarah? But what's the connection? Is this a joke? Listen, I have nothing to do with her death, and I don't know who killed her. What's all this about? You killed her, and you know it. You didn't kill her. So maybe if we tell Jeff, now this is a common interrogation practice regardless. But if we tell Jeff, like, look, I believe you, tell me what happened, right? Then you can kind of get him to tell his story, and then you can kind of find faults in his story. But if we say you definitely killed her, he might shut down and not say a damn thing to us. So we want to make sure Jeff is talking as much as possible. So let's play friendly with Jeff, even though, I mean, whether he killed her or not, we'll find out. But if he did kill her, we still want to kind of play friendly with him, just so we can get information from him. And if he didn't kill her, we want to play friendly with him. That way we can find out who did. You didn't kill her? Tell me what happened then. Why would I do that? I'll be maggot food in a few days. Who cares about your shitty book project? Do me a favor, won't you? Drop dead, buddy. Goodbye, Mr. Boogeyman. Oh, wait. Don't go yet. Look, I understand where you're coming from. The rage and the anger. But what about telling your side of the story? If you're innocent, tell me what happened. What story? There's nothing to tell. When it comes to Sarah's assassination, I learned about it the same way everyone else did. Anything I can tell you, you already know. She was murdered with a single bullet to the heart, and the gun was never found. No, the gun was never found, but I can tell you this much. It was premeditated. Sarah went to that bridge that night for a reason. There's got to be a reason why she went there. Maybe she had a date with someone. All I know that it I think that's a typo. All I know is that it wasn't a date with me. That's for sure. Shit. I loved her.
Sarah. You understand? I loved her. I know I'm the perfect culprit, but sorry about your little story. You got the wrong guy.
So he was in love with Sarah. He would never hurt Sarah. So how do we save Sarah then? If he didn't hurt Sarah, if he didn't do anything to Sarah, how do we save Sarah? Do we make sure that Sarah goes on the date with Jeff? Make sure that she stays with Jeff the entire fucking time? And maybe Jeff will save her from the would-be assassin? I don't suppose the truth will make any difference. You need your story, right? A big, fat, juicy headline. The guy who brutally eliminates 2 of his lovers. Yep, a New York Times bestseller. I can see it now. It's probably what I'll write. I just want the truth. I want it to be factual. What truth? The fuck are you looking for? I didn't kill anyone. So it's simply coincidence that your 2 lovers were murdered by an unknown killer. Is that it? I don't know what to tell you. It's like I won a lottery ticket from hell, a superb custom-made pine overcoat. I didn't kill Sarah, that's the only thing I'm sure of. Otherwise, it's not my job to conduct a fucking police investigation. You have no idea who the killer is, so I think look, just keep asking questions. You have no idea who the killer is. Not even a hint. Not even a clue. Actually, I do. Yeah, okay, tell me. Who was it? I thought maybe he'd actually talk this line. I loved her, you know. I really loved her. Sarah was an awesome person and pretty as a peach. My friends were all jealous of our relationship. They didn't understand what she could see in me. To be frank, neither did I. I was a failure back then, just like today. But she liked me. Who knows why? Unfortunately, she wasn't lucky in life. She was really depressed towards the end. Cloistered most of the time, keeping to herself. Listen to me, I never could have killed her. Never in a million years. As far as I'm concerned, there's no doubt who the real killer is. It's obvious to me. Sarah's true murderer is her freakish brother, Kevin. The guy's clinically insane. So Jeff is pointing fingers at Kevin. We're pointing fingers at Jeff, and Kevin's just sitting there with his little box and whatever might be inside the box. But Sarah says that Kevin could never do that. Kevin could never hurt a fly. But her brother? Why? Like, how are her brother? Precisely. But they never found the needed evidence to be able to convict him. And by then, my testimony was all but a joke. I had no credibility whatsoever. They couldn't even listen to me or believe what I had to say. Do you have any proof? Believe you about what? Believe you about what? Like, I wonder what his proof is. The murder weapon, my dear Watson. You're aware that Sarah was murdered by a Nazi Luger, right? A Luger Parabellum, to be exact. A weapon that hasn't been in production for almost a century. You typically see them in World War II movies, carried by Germans as sidearms. She was killed by a 7.65 millimeter caliber bullet, which is a unique caliber for the particular firearm. Personally, I've seen this weapon before, and it wasn't during a movie. And what's the connection as it relates to Kevin? I'm getting there. Bear with me just a little longer. Before becoming my girlfriend, way before that, Sarah and I were childhood friends. You know, birthday parties, neighborhood get-togethers, fun in the park, things like that. It was her 10th birthday party, and Sarah's parents had organized a barbecue and invited the locals to a typical corn roast. There were dozens in attendance, and during the day, at some point, we played a game of hide and seek. It was Sarah's turn to count, and I went to hide in her parents' wardrobe. I found myself curled up in the back of the closet, motionless in the dark. I even got the shakes. You know, I was a kid. Darkness can be a scary thing when you're a 10-year-old, especially when you're far from home. Down in the kitchen, an adult dropped a plate, and the noise startled me. I ended up hitting my head, the jolt causing a shelf to come loose, and a box fell, hitting the ground, and that's when I saw it. This old shoebox. It was there on the floor, and in the box, to my utter surprise, I saw the gun. It was a Luger. I'm sure of it. Before long, I immediately put everything back in its place and emerged from my hideout. But I never forgot this pistol. Weapons leave a lasting mark when you're a kid. Are you sure what you saw? Did you tell the police? And of course he didn't tell. Well, he might have told the police when he was like super old, like, you know, I don't know how old he would have been, in his 20s maybe, and he's like, oh, well, I remember seeing a pistol when I was 10 years old. Like, police wouldn't like use that, right? I have no idea. I don't know if they would use that or not. Yeah, I saw this pistol 15 years ago. But I mean, it couldn't hurt to ask, like, did you tell the police? He's gonna be like, yeah, and they laughed at me. Obviously. They just didn't believe me. They thought I was mistaken. They claimed that a child could never have recognized a Luger. They argued that if the pistol did exist, it wouldn't confirm my guilt it would confirm my guilt because I'd be the sole person aware of this fucking gun's existence. Stupid morons. Think for a second, why would I give them the murder weapon? It doesn't make any sense. Unfortunately, there's no IQ test when you're entering the police academy. Imbeciles. And so they never suspected Kevin. Yes, of course, they suspected Kevin. They even interrogated him, but he had an airtight alibi. A small little detail that changed everything. A beautiful, ironclad fucking alibi. What was that? Nothing less than Scott Kellerman, the village sheriff. Scott swore he saw Kevin that night. According to his testimony, Scott spent the night on his balcony and Kevin on his, on a porch swing, rocking back and forth. So it can't be him. So why suspect him? Is Kevin just... Was that Kevin there? Maybe Kevin killed Sarah and then went and sat on the porch? And then Scott saw Kevin, and I don't know, but why would... So I guess why suspect him? Your innocence doesn't automatically mean it was Kevin's crime. Really? Don't you see? The gun is the missing link. I'm perhaps the sole person who saw it as a kid, and later on, that bastard sheriff sided with Kevin. The sheriff hates me. It's as simple as that. And that's true. The sheriff does hate Jeff, but the sheriff also believes that Jeff killed Sarah and his current wife. In fact, he hates my guts. He thinks I'm guilty, that I deserve to burn regardless of the evidence. So you know what? He gave Kevin a false alibi. He basically lied. The senile old bastard wants me out of the way. But why would he do that? Like, why does he not, like, Jeff so much that he's willing to risk his career and his life on trying to pin this on Jeff. And the other thing too is like Scott was like almost dead. Like he was dying of whatever illness he was going through at that point in time. Like he was hardly moving. However, I just thought of this. Could it be that Scott did in fact lie about the testimony and gave Kevin a false alibi, which essentially sentenced Jeff, right? Now, granted, Jeff was never charged with Sarah, but he gave a false alibi to try to get Jeff charged and convicted because he didn't like Jeff. And in doing so, in this weird roundabout way, he survived and lost the love of his own life. Like he lost his own love life, his wife. He then survived. He was magically cured because of some wrong deed that he did. Which sounds kind of weird, right? Like he did wrong, so he lives. But the love of his life was taken away from him, and now he has to suffer the rest of his life without his wife, his love. So now Sheriff is suffering his entire life. Even though he's cured, he no longer has the love of his life. So now he's suffering every single day without his wife, because his wife was taken from the sheriff as a form of punishment to the sheriff. Is that possible? That this is like some big circle? Seems a little far-fetched. I just gave a very far-fetched theory. So, it definitely seems far-fetched. It definitely seems far-fetched, and I gave a very far-fetched theory. We just keep saying it seems a little far-fetched. Worse than that, I was seen during the day by Mrs. Carroll, a neighbor of ours, while having an argument with Sarah. She was crying hard. She said it was over, and when she turned to leave, I grabbed her by the arm. Nothing violent, maybe a little rough, but it was involuntary. I just wanted her to leave like... I just didn't want her to leave like that. That whore Mrs. Carroll told the cops that I grabbed her brazenly by the arm, so it didn't look good. In terms of Sarah, I was really busted up on the inside. I really thought we still had a chance. But before long, it dawned on me that it was really over. That when she said goodbye, she meant it. And that I'd never see her again. I spent the night languishing alone in my room. No need to draw you a picture. Nobody saw me until the next day. A dumped boyfriend, a lover spat, and Sarah disappears that evening. Hook, line, and sinker. Not to mention the arm twisting. I was done for. But you've been acquitted, haven't you? At least for Sarah's murder. I've been acquitted, sure, but it was only because of a lack of evidence. In everyone's mind, I was still the murderer. So why didn't you get the hell out of town? It's exactly what I did. I spent 4 years in Vermont doing odd jobs. I was a waiter, a gas attendant, and a clerk in a grocery store. Pretty prestigious, eh? Afterwards, I came back to Oakland when my mother died, staying a week in the village, and during that time, I fell in love with Lisa. Lisa was already living here. She had a nice house on the hill near the river, and I thought that despite everything, I could perhaps be happy again. This was, after all, my hometown where I grew up. After struggling the way I had for those years, I really wanted to settle down. The dust by then had surely settled, and I wanted to take care of my father. He was basically alone at this point and getting up there in years. Lisa and I were married as soon as possible and moved in. So Jeff moved in with Lisa. But I quickly realized nothing had changed. From the onset, the way people stared at me, it was obvious. For them, I was still Sarah's murderer. I tried everything to find a decent job, anything really, but nobody wanted to give me a second chance. Lisa had a lot of money, which she inherited, so I stayed with her for 3 years, locked in this damn house. I didn't dare venture out. The darting looks and burning were burning a hole in my soul, and Lisa stubbornly refused to move from there. She didn't want to leave her family behind, and her mother was sick. So I started drinking more, a lot more. I mean, excessively. That morning, on my way to the river, I left with a pack of beer and some fishing rods. No one saw me. I took special precautions to slip away unnoticed. I couldn't stomach parents clinging to their children at the sight of me, as if to protect them from a monster. At any rate, fishing had become my only refuge, my only usefulness for a while, bringing back a fresh catch for the evening meal. When I came back home, there at the house, a police perimeter had been established, and to make matters worse, I was plastered. As far as the community was concerned, it was my second murder. So what do you suppose? I was convicted before the proceedings even began. So, before we continue here, I got another theory. It's still a similar, it's the same theory, but to add to that previous theory I was just telling you about, what if Scott recreated Sarah's murder by killing Lisa to frame Jeff? So Scott knows that Jeff didn't kill Sarah, but in turn shot and killed Lisa the same exact way Sarah did, essentially framing Jeff. And now Jeff is being convicted of it. So and put to death for it. So in Scott's mind, he's like, Scott won. But that's just him being like a terrible person. There you have it. Now you know everything. You're indeed the perfect culprit. So you have nothing to do with these. So you have nothing to do with these murders. And you maintain that. Look at me in the eyes, bud. I have nothing to lose, nothing to hide. And in a few days, I'll be dead. And on the other side, I'll be judged. I'll probably be judged for being an asshole, an alcoholic, and a bad husband, but never for killing anyone. I swear that to you. In all sincerity, whether you believe me or not, I couldn't care less. But what I told you was true. And Kevin, what happened to him? I'm I don't know what to believe, to be honest with you, but I'm starting to believe Jeff's side of the story. Because I've also developed my own theory as to what possibly happened. But I kind of want to ask him, like, what happened, and Kevin, what happened to Kevin? But I also want to say, like, I believe you, Jeff. But I'm curious as to what happened to Kevin. You don't know? You should do your homework, Columbo. Some investigator. Just give it to me straight. What happened? After Sarah died, Kevin became extremely unstable, and his mother, totally detached by then, wasn't able to take care of him. So he was placed in the Douglas house, a place for crazies. He's still there, by the way. Moreover, it isn't very far from here. I think just off the next exit. If you want to find the culprit, go visit him. But be forewarned, with all his happy pills, 30 years of them, I'm not sure he can still put a sentence together, let alone a conversation. So he's like, look, if you want to find the real culprit, go to the crazy house, go to the loony bin. You'll find him there. Your time is up, Mr. King. You have 1 minute left. It's goodbye time. That was the custodian. So I'm guessing the security guard, not the custodian, but the security guard. Before you go, will you be here next week? Here for what? My execution. I can add you to the authorized list of people. I mean, since you're writing my story, you might as well witness my demise. It's what you wanted, right? A bestseller, a gruesome chapter will certainly help. I don't think so. No. Look, I'll be here. I'll be here, but not because of the book, Jeff. I'll be here because I respect you and I believe you. I'll be your one believer that you are an innocent person being put to death. You're all the same, like those on the freeway who slow down to catch a glimpse of an accident, a little gore to end. That's not what I meant. Can I go back? I want to go back and say I don't think so. Let's see what he says. I wanted to say I was gonna be there to not to support him. Like obviously that's not to support, but I wanted to be there as like the only person that was there, showing him that I believe him, showing him that I believe in his story. Like he can, when he's getting ready to get fried, he can look at me instead of looking at everybody else, looking at him like a monster. He can look at me as like the one person that believes him. I thought that's how it was gonna go. A little gore to enjoy, prior to picking up a Happy Meal. Maybe I'll shit my pants. Your readers might like that, getting his just desserts, or confess my guilt at the last minute. But it's not going to happen. None of it. Listen, bud, I have a favor to ask you. What?
Don't be a bastard in your book. My dad is still alive, you know? And I have a little brother also. Your shitty book, it might start the gossip again. Rekindle old grudges. It would be better if this whole thing died with me.
Or at least give my point of view, okay? Don't make me out to be a cold-blooded serial killer. Camper, look, I'll do that. I'll do it. I have your word on that? Yes, you do. You have my word. Man, I feel bad now because now it makes it seem like I'm going there just to watch him die because I want to see him die. But like that's not the reason why I wanted to go there to watch him. Like I wanted to be there to be the one person that believed him.
Anyway, forgive my rudeness, but I'm not walking you out.
The way you entered the penitentiary was far different than how you were leaving. The heavens are now awash in this thick, dark blanket of menacing clouds. A fine mist covers the road ahead, darkening the pavement, and the delicate rain produces an almost imperceptible and the delicate rain produces an almost imperceptible luster. It's smooth and slick like freshly waxed surfboard. Something is definitely off with this whole story. Everything points to Jeff. He has the motive, the opportunity, and no alibi to speak of. Yet, something is amiss. Something just isn't adding up. Upon entering your driveway, feeling extremely frustrated, you park the car, and you sit there, lost in your thoughts. Suddenly, you deliver a furious blow to the steering wheel. If Jeff is truly sincere, he'll be executed for nothing, and Sarah will die. He's most certainly lying. That's what convicts do. But how to be sure of it? You have one final hope, one final lead. Kevin. You walk to Emily's grave. The small branches seem helpless in the cold drizzle. Nonetheless, the tree looks healthy. It's going to survive. You wipe a tear using the back of your sleeve. Tomorrow, if nothing changes, Sarah will die, and you'll have failed. A hand comes to rest on your shoulder. Fucking Scott. What the hell, Scott? It's Scott. And now I have like this whole completely different view of Scott. Now I'm starting to think that Scott killed Lisa. And he's just covering for Kevin. All to pin it on Jeff. It's Scott. Offering you a benevolent gaze, his green poncho catches your attention, an appendage from his law enforcement days. You shouldn't be out here, my friend. It's really cold and you're soaked. You still look like crap, by the way. Come on, let's get you warmed up. I'll make us a cup of joe. He's such a nice guy, though, it seemed. Like, he's... I just don't know. I don't know. Scott, he seems like such a nice guy, but in my head, I have this theory of him being just this terrible person. Scott leads you to your home and opens the door. As though he lived there himself, you hobble along as he holds the door open. He then heads straight for the kitchen, turning a burner on.
Put a small log in the fireplace, Jacob. It's like an igloo in your house.
So, partner, how'd the prison go? You really interested? Jeff swears he's innocent. I hope you didn't believe his spiel. He's nothing but a smartass, nothing more. A benign, spewing smartass. There's nothing wrong with being a smartass. Like, I've got my own smartass takes. Of course not, he's lying. I don't know. Oh, what do we do? Do we want to tell Scott? Do we even want to give him an idea, a hint that we might think it might be someone else? I don't know. Do we lie to Scott? I'm not sure what we do. I don't know. Maybe we should talk about this later. I'm a little confused and I have a terrible headache. You might have a concussion. Didn't I tell you to go see a doctor? What's the matter with you? I'll go soon. I don't need your advice. Look, I'll go soon. I promise. In the meantime, do you have any news about the talkie? Again with that talkie? Is that an obsession with you? Anyway, yes, I already repaired a bad connection, but I found another burnt circuit in the wiring. I think I can patch it up by tomorrow morning. 1 or 2 small welds and it should be functional. At least, I hope so. Any chance you can fix it by tonight? Bloody hell, you're tenacious. I say that, I'll say that much for you, but I wouldn't bite the hand that feeds you or fixes things. Remember, I'm doing this as a favor. I'm 84 and I'm patching up your toys, for fuck's sake. Scott pours you a cup of coffee, grumbling under his breath. Your migraine hasn't relented. A black coffee without sugar for the gentleman. But be careful, it's hot. You sparsely take a sip. Behind the bitter undertones was another side to the cranky old sheriff. What could be construed as sheer grumpiness was, for the most part, more bark than bite. Perhaps the loss of your respective wives was forging some kind of strange bond, and a bond you hadn't anticipated. Jacob, you're a genuine pain in the butt, but let me see what I can do. I'll owe you one. Thank you. It's very important. Look, thank you. It's very important. I'm not going to keep giving you like false promises, Scott. Okay, I get it. You need a 30-year-old useless walkie-talkie, and you need it now. Makes perfect sense. Scott gets up and looks at you, exasperated. Jacob, I'll do my best. I'll call you later on, and I hope to get more details from you. You have to trust me. Thank you. I don't need your thanks, my friend. Your gratitude warms my heart, but it's a fucking explanation that I need. This whole setup stinks like a whorehouse in the dead of summer. Oh, I couldn't imagine. So I'll expect an explanation at some point, preferably tomorrow. Okay. You trouble me, my friend. Scott opens the door to the porch, stepping outside.
Oh, well. It's sunny now. I've never seen a fucking season like this.
Scott's departure causes you to ponder, time ticking away. It's 4:00. You make a call to the Douglas home by claiming to be a distant member of the family. You're just passing through. It works. You get an appointment with Kevin for tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Nice. A gentle, soft golden light shines through the blinds, and the sun, moving closer towards the west, is inexorably approaching the top of the mountains. The evening dawn is now shimmering in the distance, the darkness beginning to settle, and the sheriff didn't return. You open the window a little wider. Suddenly, a flock of birds catches your eye, moving swiftly, and time is running thin. Turning towards the kitchen is when you hear footsteps approaching. the sound getting stronger. You lean out the window to get a better look. Scott's ominous shadow reaches all the way across the lawn, and there he is, talkie in hand. It's getting late. The deadline coming fast. It's almost 7:30 p.m. You open the door before Scott has a chance to knock.
Whoa, you seem in a hurry, neighbor.
Scott hands you the talkie. Thanks, Scott, 1,000 times over. Now I wish that. And you slam the door. You slam the door shut, which leaves Scott totally bewildered. Moments later, you hear him murmuring profanities as he departs. You test the device by pressing the switch feverishly. You notice black insulating tape holding the batteries in place, and a sense of relief comes when you see the red light coming on. Sarah? Sarah, are you there? You there, Sarah? Hello? She's not answering.
Jacob,
Oh,
I thought it was over.
she's here. We have very little time. I visited with Jeff at Ethan Moore Prison. He swears he's innocent. I was certain of it. He could never hurt me. You don't know a thing, Sarah. He remains... Look, you don't know a thing, Sarah. I found your note in the attic, the postscript part. It's stuck with me. You want to believe he's innocent, but inmates on death row would say anything to change their fate. You have to remember... Wait, no. I thought when I said you don't know anything, Sarah, I thought that was me saying, like, you don't know what, like I thought I was getting ready to, like, throw some information about Kevin down on her. like that's what I meant by you don't know. Oh, I hastily picked, too hastily picked you don't know a thing, Sarah. Maybe I should have picked he remains the main suspect, but I didn't want to say he remained the main suspect either. Jacob, believe me, he's innocent. You don't know that, Sarah. He says the murderer is Kevin. Oh, yeah, now we're throwing the bomb on her. He says the murderer is Kevin. He says, that's what he's saying. Kevin, it's ridiculous. Be careful, Sarah. I beseech you. Tomorrow, I'll be going to the Douglas home to see your brother. You mean Kevin is still alive? Yeah, I'll try to find out what he knows. You don't have to do that, Jacob. He has nothing to do with this. You've already done enough. And Mom, do you know, is she okay? She's doing well. She's dead. Look, we're going to tell the truth. We're going to be honest with Sarah. Your mother passed away a few years ago, or a few years after your death. I'm so sorry, Sarah. It was a heart attack. So Kevin's the last of the Williams. Who would have thought? Communication will be interrupted at any minute. Be careful, Sarah. We're running short on time. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Jacob.
If tomorrow you see Kevin, ask him how Kevin Osaurus is doing. How? Who? What? Kevin Osaurus. Oh, we ran out of time. Communication is interrupted. Tomorrow represents the end of the line, the terminus where the journey concludes, where anything is possible. You feel the weight of it, your emotions getting the best of you, and you're playing according to rules that, in all honesty, you can't fully get your arms around. You remain immersed in the serenity of the moment, a soothing place, and you briefly enjoy a moment of solace, something you haven't felt for a long time. Nighttime slowly engulfs the entire countryside, and the moon rises gently above the mountains as if piercing the heavens, a deep wonder on a layer of ebony velvet. The effects of fatigue and the morphine begin to coalesce, and pain slowly subsides. Perhaps the inferno within is softening, maybe for a while, though the consuming embers are still lurking beneath the ashes. Walking towards the window, you notice a faint reflection, a ghost-like radiance illuminates Emily's resting place. It's real. There's those spaces where this world ends and another begins. There in the moonlight, as though being led to a place from afar, you follow the calling, and it draws you there to the tree in the yard. The woods are ardent with the comforting aroma, with the earthiness of the nature. A fine mist remains motionless as it caresses the soil beneath it, like a cloud suspended between the side of paradise, between heaven and earth. A shadow appears at the edge of the woodlands, emerging from the moonbeams. The silhouette advances towards you, gliding ever so gently, and you perceive the likeness of a human form. You're not afraid. It's her. As the distance fades between the world and the next, your heart beats in unison. She reaches out and tenderly cups your face and kisses you madly, long, hard kisses, one after another, again and again. You can smell her, taste her, feel the warmth of her soft lips pressing against yours. Wisps of her graceful hair tickle your neck, her nose rubbing against yours. Eskimo kisses written in time. Time is standing still. She slowly frees her lips from yours, gazing at you intently. Her voice tightens, the tears falling in unison. But how? My love. It's Emily. There in her eyes, like a river heading out to sea, the melancholy was a reservoir that no ocean could ever fill, and you stay in the moment, and you didn't want it to end.
You have to do it, Jake.
Oh no. Then we'll be together? Tell me, please, what do I have to do?
I love you.
I love you too, Emily. Emily suddenly disappears as though carried by the wind, dispersing into the night. Don't go, Emmy. Please, I need you. Don't go. Maybe if we save Sarah, then Sarah will then come back and like she'll be in our lives. Like if we can save Sarah, maybe she'll not marry Jeff and she'll marry us instead. I don't know. But that's the end of day 4, and it seems like day 5 is going to be the end of the game where we find out whether we save Sarah or not. So I was thinking of possibly live streaming the end of this game, and I think it's day 5. If it's not day 5, we'll find out. But day 5 is when Sarah lives or dies, and I'm gonna live stream it probably tomorrow. I don't know exactly what time, but if you want to know when we do this live stream and you want to be a part of this live stream, let me know in the comments. Let me please like the video. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do the live stream for the ending of this game, and make sure you guys are subscribed. And if you haven't already, subscribe and join the Tether. Turn on notifications. Turn on that bell. Make sure you get notified when I schedule the live stream for this game, for the ending of this game. Whether we, when we learn whether we are gonna save Sarah or not. But I hope you guys are enjoying the talkie as much as I am. It's such a good, in-depth story, and I have a feeling my theory might come true. Kevin may have been the one that killed Sarah, and Scott may have been the one that killed Lisa, and it's all being pinned on Jeff. And we need to figure that out. We need to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And if we can do that, maybe, just maybe, we will find Emily. Hope you guys are enjoying it. As always, thanks for watching. Love you all. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.